Welcome to What's Up Wednesday, everybody. If you follow our social media pages, then maybe you saw the blog that I wrote a week ago about investing in employees. I think this is an important topic to discuss. And whether you're an employee or whether you're an employer, I think that there's a perspective that you can take from this. And hopefully I'm able to clearly present my case, if you want to call it that. But ultimately, I'd like to start out with one of my favorite, if not my very favorite quote, which came from Richard Branson. If you know Richard, he was the CEO of Virgin Records, Virgin Airlines, the Virgin brands. And he's a very, very dynamic person who seems to influence people's lives. And the people around him who know him respect him and appreciate him very much. But this particular quote is, train your employees so that they may leave you, but treat them in a manner that they don't want to. That's the gist of the quote. And that has always really resonated to me, because I think as employers, and to an extent employees, there's only so much that we can control. And when we look back historically at relationships between employers and employees, I think it's probably fair to say that for a lot of years, employers probably took advantage of employees. And if we look back at the beginning of unionization, that came about because of working conditions. And there was a very real reason why the unions emerged, in order to try to protect the workforce. I think that over time, employers have gotten better at taking care of their employees, but at the same time, there's still probably this feeling out there that employers could do a whole lot more. And in the employment landscape today, it's so unique and different, because I think that employees want more and they're less willing to settle. And what that means is that oftentimes employees will jump ship because it's much easier to do so than it is to try to work through concerns or issues they have with their employer and try to make their current employment work to their satisfaction. And, you know, there are a lot of parts and pieces, a lot of moving parts and pieces, but it might be a little bit of a bold statement on my part, but, you know, I feel like the idea of Richard Branson's quote, which is, train your employees so they can leave you and treat them so that they don't want to. I think that employers are maybe embracing that less and less. And the reason I say that is that it takes a lot of energy to invest in your employees and their training and their continued professional development. And a lot of employers aren't doing it because they want to try to keep those people, and they figure if they're less marketable, they're not going to lose them. So, you know, they may not invest in those things. And that's not my approach, not for a second, but I think more employers are kind of taking that stance, or they're waiting to invest employees once the employees have proven that they're loyal, so to speak. I think loyalty is a whole nother topic. I've brought it up in the past, but what is a reasonable expectation for loyalty on both sides, employer and employee loyalty? But anyway, you know, my bold statement, if you want to, or my strong opinion is, I think that employers are tending to invest less in employees early because they're kind of tired of getting burned. And again, it's a two-way street, because I think employees are tired of feeling like they're taken advantage of, that they're not getting enough. And I think that if I had any advice for an employer, and maybe even a supervisor who's hiring somebody to work beneath them, is the things that we can control are how we treat our employees, whether we respect them or not, we show them respect, whether we pay them well, do we give them benefits for salaried employees, exempt employees, are we giving them time off? Non-exempt employees get overtime, which most would prefer that overtime off. Do we train them? Do we help them grow professionally in their job and career so that they're more marketable? And, you know, finally, if people leave us, do we wish them well? Do we encourage them to come back? I think that's a really big thing we can do as employers. Sure, you may not be real happy your employee's leaving and going to work for your competitor or do another job, but guess what? They're going to go over and check out the grass on that side of the fence, and it may be greener and it may not be. But if it's not, leave that door open for them to come back. Show them that respect and say, look, you know, we really appreciated you. And sometimes, employees leave very upset for reasons we don't know. And I think all we can do is say, look, we really appreciated you, and the door is always open for you to come back. Those are the things that we can control. And, as an employee, I think the big thing is communicating your needs, communicating your wants. And an employer can say, yeah, I can meet those, or no, I can't. And at least you have honesty and you have transparency. And I think that goes a really long way. So, I think as the employment landscape continues to get trickier and trickier, I see employees getting more and more unsettled. And we're seeing resumes where the average job duration or tenure is getting shorter and shorter. And I don't know that that's going to change, but what I would like to see is I would like to see relationships between employers and employees where they're able to develop a relationship that is mutually beneficial and both parties are happy and they stay together. I know we have a fantastic team of people who have been here for many years, and we put a lot of effort into those relationships, which I think is one of the differences, is that relationships, whether it be a marriage, a friendship, or an employment relationship, they all take effort. We got to put effort into it. That effort comes both directions, up and down. So, there's not a proven formula that works all of the time to maximize an employment relationship. But I think if we focus on those little things, respect, professionalism, take care of our people, encourage our people, thank them, that's a big one. And then continue to train them so that they can leave you. But again, treat them so that they don't want to. Those are the things that I would encourage everybody to embrace and think about. And like I said, there's not a one size fits all approach, but I think that approach might be the easiest one to adopt, and it may have the greatest benefits in the long run. So hopefully you find that helpful. We'll see you next Wednesday.